All right. Welcome back. Got another episode of BILLINICO commentary. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you go to BILLINICO.com. Use code FEARLESS. Yes. So today we're going to be talking about Dame Dash again, but this time we're going to see what Joe Budden and the crew says. Now, I have a feeling that they are going to miss the point. I think they're going to totally miss what he's saying without even, watching the podcast. I think Joe Budden's in his feelings a little bit. Dame Dash, who also, he's in his feelings at times, but he says certain truths, and I think it offends people and it puts them on the defensive as opposed to being receptive to the things that he's actually saying. So right now, Joe Budden is clearly in his feelings about something with Dame Dash, and I think he's going to miss, some of the points that Dame Dash was trying to make on the Breakfast Club. To me, Dame Dash was giving a masterclass in masculinity, true wealth management, and just how to conduct yourself as a man. He was just trying to teach people how to conduct themselves and have a serious conversation. They were supposed to have an intellectual debate, a fair one, him versus Charlemagne. And he came up there, and if you paid attention, he did that. How did he do that? Well, he made Charlemagne and DJ Envy look like giggling schoolgirls because all they did was kept interrupting him and giggling and then laughing. And yeah, he snapped and he told jokes, but that wasn't his initial sentiment. He originally just said, hey, don't cut me off. We'll go back and forth. And they kept, trying to debunk him and saying this and that. And the conversation never really was a respectful one. We get Joe Budden on the screen right now. So, of course, I like to use the Joe Budden podcast as a case study, right? I like to get a gauge on what people such as themselves, what they think and what they receive from something like that and what they communicate to their audience because they are a reflection on their demographic. In channels like mine, listen, my channel is a compilation of videos at this point. And you can look at the time that I posted it. You can look at the topics that I'm talking about, what I'm referring to. And then you can see the market and how people start talking about things and what they start referring to. And you can put two and two together. My conversations are much more insightful than just the surface level BS that a lot of these entertainment platforms, give the public. Now they're starting to pivot because they're realizing that the audience wants value, even as entertainment. The audience, such as ourselves, humans, citizens of this country, we need to make the best use of our time. We want to enjoy our time. So if we're going to listen to something passively or actively, why not have it be something that's more fruitful than just some BS? People are starting to break the old patterns, the old programs of listening to, destructive rap music, BS entertainment, dating shows and reality shows that just aren't really producing much. Even the conversations that are being had in these shows, like, are you learning anything? To watch something that's just strictly for entertainment value and funny, it has to be really funny and it's entertaining. So I do admit the Joe Budden podcast does have that barbershop entertainment for the boys feel. And I think there's value in that because if you're a man and you want to, take your time away from whatever your work is, you can go to a platform such as the Joe Budden podcast. But still, what gives these platforms now and going forward a ultimate advantage is actually bringing value. Think about branding, right? The brands that last and, stay true, they're more than just the name. In the old days, it was really about who was popular. What's the biggest name? What's the most expensive product? Which still has an influence, right, in society because people are followers. But as we gain more knowledge, as the economy changes, as things tighten up, as old industries crumble and new industries emerge, there's going to be a transition. This is all, even my product right now, I consider this part of the great wealth transfer. And then Dame Dash was getting into the family offices, which is also a big factor in the great wealth transfer that is occurring, where there's trillions of dollars that are changing hands from generation to generation, from baby boomers to millennials and Gen Z. And then I believe after that, Gen Alpha. So you got to really, really make sure you're making the best use of your time and you're listening to the right people. Because even if you're just listening to something for entertainment, they could be subconsciously or subliminally putting things in your mind, such as how to look at the world. They have Mark Lamont Hill up here. He's an anti-billionaire person. He's a eat the rich type of guy. So if you listen to someone like him all day, I'm not saying that you can't be successful, but I'm just saying be careful. Be careful of the people you listen to and just look at the outcome of your life. If there's people that listen to someone like a Mark Lamont Hill and they become rich and successful or happier or more fulfilled, their children's colleges are paid for, their children are successful, their wife is happy, then cool. But if you listen to certain people that bring value and teach you how to operate as a man, how to operate as an entrepreneur, how to operate as a professional, then that person probably has more value. And that's something that you can get from a Dame Dash, right? There's certain people that are on these platforms that are giving more value than the others. Because when we talk, people clearly like to hear people talk. People like to watch people talk. People like to listen to people talk. Talking is the way. Talking is the product. Just simply talking. So when you talk, which product is better? Who's the better talker? And when you're talking, what do people get in return when they listen to you? What is being put in their heads? Is it motivational? Is it factual? Is it true? Is it creative? Is it interesting? I know people love to make money. I know people, once they start getting involved in business or entrepreneurship, they love to learn more. It's an everlasting or an evergreen source of, information, and certain the environment changes, there's new players, so there's always something to talk about. So when you approach it from this standpoint, you can get an idea of what I'm building with BILLINICO, with Digital Wall Street. This is a long-term play. This is a legacy play. This is a legacy brand. There's the brands that, what are the True Religions, the Rockawares, even back in the day, Sean Combs, Fat Farm, brands come and go, Macy's, etc. But what's valuable? Even though Nike fell off, why has Nike lasted so long? Nike gives its value because the just do it. Its branding is built around athleticism. It's built around athletes. It's built around physical training. It's built on lifestyle. And that's valuable because it's giving you, whenever you see someone wear Nikes or you think athletics. Now, once Nike actually went to more fashion and trendiness and hype, even though they saw a lot of success, there's a cap there, because if you're trying to be cool, what's cool one day is not going to be cool tomorrow, unless it's this classic. Follow me. What's cool today may not be cool tomorrow unless it's classic. Some things can stand the test of time. Nike will stand the test of time because they're going to go back to being It's a classic athletic brand. They're going to sign athletes. That's what they, or that's what I'm assuming that they would get to if they had the right head of the company that can, has that vision. And then they're good to go. They really need to sign a key athlete, and then they can really, be out of here. They have competitors that are trying to, poach their business model for the last 20, 30 years. But the thing is, they can't reach the level of success, in my opinion, because Nike has the just do it. The just do it, just like live with no fear, is something that is, when you read just do it, that's a positive subliminal thing. That brand is associated, like I said, with athleticism, constructivity, or constructive activities, and just building, working out. It is. Rolex, timeless, fine handmade timepieces. That's not going out of style. Now, G-Shock, that's around, but that was a fad. What's the story behind G-Shock? What's the value compared to, et cetera? That's how you got to look at the world. And when you build something, or when you go into an industry, you got to look at the value. You got to look at the long-term legacy. Why are you doing what you're doing? When you start a profession, are you looking 10, 20 years, 5 years in the future? How does this affect me? Is this something I could teach my kids? Am I doing this now so that they can come behind me and do this if they're interested? Because you can't guarantee that your kids are going to want to do something. So you want to leave them a certain amount of options so you can protect whatever you built, but also give them the freedom to choose what they may want to do. But hopefully it falls in line within your grand plan. That's why I think Dame Dash was bringing up family legacy. It was so important and inspiring. But let me go, because I could just keep going, but let me go into the Joe Budden podcast before someone writes in the comments, we just want to hear Joe Budden podcast. If you come to my channel, you're here to hear me. This is BILLINICO. If you come to BILLINICO.com, or if you come to YouTube, BILLINICO, and I'm using a video as a case study, realize you are learning from me. I am using them as a backdrop to educate and give my perspective on things to get you to think, or to get you to apply some new tactics in your life, or a new way of thinking, right? Remember that.
All of the reports of debt and,
as he should,
and bankruptcy. And it's still been respectful. I don't want to lie or envy. It's been respectful fun.
Nothing they did up there was respectful. Nothing they did up there was respectful.
So a lot of eyes were on this interview, and it did not disappoint. This might be the first time where I plugged up to the Bluetooth to hear an interview while I was in the shower.
Oh, yeah, this new surround sound shit you got, right? The shit you got around the whole crib.
No, just a regular Bluetooth.
Nah, no, you got that shit in your bag.
Old school Bose speaker. You stop clocking me.
Nigga, I went to your crib before, nigga.
Don't clock nothing that's going on in my crib.
Man, on top of
He's looking at that like pocket watching. He's looking at that like pocket watching, because you gotta, there's a thin line between straight paranoia and healthy paranoia, right? Because you can notice things that people do and say, and you could clock it in your head, and you like, why is this person doing that? Why is this person saying that? Especially nowadays, the more you see how people move, how men move, how women move, the betrayal, it just keeps you on guard. So when you know someone's looking around your house, you're wondering their intentions. Are they looking because they respect you and they're just noticing things and they think things are dope? Or, are they hating low key? Some people look to see what you got just to peep it out, be a hater and then leave. They just want to know. They just want to get some insight. It's not like a genuine visit where it's like, let me check on my homie right now. Or some people just want to scope the scene out and, peep and then dip out. So you just got to, stay in a healthy frame of mind, but just peep the differences in these type of things.
You checked out the speaker system in the shower?
well, of course, that's two. That's
what?
two.
I'm asking.
Of course, see, so
I don't want beef. I just was
your
curious.
game shit. So I'm gay. You trying to say?
No, I just thought you were nosy.
Oh, you're trying to bring the same energy over. I see what you're doing. There's lots of gay jokes on that.
That was the whole
brainstorm.
interview. You broke and you gay.
You see how all the lights are?
That wasn't the whole interview. That wasn't the whole interview. The interview, Mark Lamont Hill especially, for someone like him, he especially, he's one of these liberal guys like a Charlemagne that just talks and runs their mouth about things. And quite frankly, they are leading a lot of young men astray. In my opinion, they're leading them down the wrong path. They're teaching them how to be victims. They're teaching them not how to conduct themselves and be respectful and actually open their ears and listen. That's why Dame Dash was saying you guys are dumb, because they were just saying things without any type of intellectual backing. That's what we call dumb. In a similar way that we saw Trump, when Trump would say certain things and just call it for what it is. But people were enjoying that because they thought it was refreshing and they wanted to support someone that was running for politics that had good intentions but wasn't playing the cookie cutter politician games. I could be wrong, but that's what I get from Dame Dash. Dame Dash is someone to me that has a good message, a great message at that, is trying to correct things that he sees. And he's man enough to stand up to people and tell them what he thinks they're doing wrong, why he thinks they're doing it wrong, and give an explanation. And he says it a certain way, especially if they're not receptive to it the first couple of times that he tries to do it respectfully. Now, I would understand if he just came up there and started saying, yo, you're stupid, this and that. He's saying, don't cut me off. They're cutting them off. They're giggling. That's what we literally would call childish. And like people like Mark Lamont Hill, they don't even, it's like their brain waves don't even see these things. They don't see DJ Envy and Charlemagne giggling like little girls. While Dame Dash, someone who's made $100 million or who's ran hundreds of millions of dollars in companies. Like if someone like that is in my presence, I'm going to sit and listen. I don't even really care whether, even if they are broke now, quote unquote. I want to hear what this person did, what they do, how did they even maneuver that? What's their mindset? Because the only way to get somewhere that someone is in position to do or where they are in life is to listen to what they did from their perspective. And you, depending on where you want to go in your life, you got to take the good and the bad, and you got to decide, if I want to get to this position in life, I got to do this. Even if you want to not have the failed relationships that Dame Dash had, you still got to sit and listen to the guy talk. Because he was in high positions. Like people act like his high when it comes to success level was higher than a lot of people's prime right now. A lot of these guys are just hitting their, like, no offense to Joe Budden. Joe Budden is known now as the richest probably in his career. And, you know, he's making, I think it came out, he's making about 20 million a year. Now, this is media games. That could be true, not true. I think it's true, by the way. But that's a media game. That's a media tactic he decided to participate in, which I think is smart. Because that sets a standard. It puts him in a certain class, which is good for branding and setting you apart, because this is classism. That's why when you really get to the top, you don't need, the exact numbers don't matter. The exact numbers don't matter at a certain level. It's about class. You need some money, don't get me wrong. But it's about class. It's about what assets do you have and do you control? What positions do you have in these companies? What companies do you have then that you're building and controlling? Even if you haven't made a profit yet, which, you know, if you're like NVIDIA, you're out of here. You know, that's why these companies are valued where they're at. But it's all about a combination of things. And it's about classism, because people that are in a certain class operate a certain way. So you might, you know, fall off, quote unquote, And because of Dame Dash's circumstances, because of the lawsuits, the failed partnerships with Jay-Z and Biggs, the tax issues, he's taken some L's. But because he's in a certain class, hear me? Because he's in a certain class, he has knowledge and information to certain tactics. So he knows I need to have my assets and my money over here. I can't have anything in a personal account. And I probably shouldn't either way, because I want to protect my resources, as much as possible. That's why he goes into the family office and et cetera, et cetera. This is literally that's for this community especially, that is groundbreaking information. The first piece is become an entrepreneur, get the money, be independent, control your time. The second piece is how do you control your resources once you build yourself up? How do you allocate and structure your business? He's giving you the game on how to move as a rich person. And it makes me question just how rich is Dame Dash. For someone that y'all think Dame Dash he has to be in psychosis to say, hey, I've heard him say years ago he was considering buying football leagues, and I've seen him on football fields where it looks like teams. How is this guy broke and he has a subscription network? Even if it's not popping like that, he's funding the technology. He's paying all these people. He's producing all this product. That costs money. He's paying staff. That costs money. And not only that, the confidence behind it. Now, it's not tax evasion, because his companies that he started have, have the resources and assets, that he may manage. If he even manages it, he probably doesn't even have to manage that. It just is what it is. So.
Up there, that's how many speakers he got in his crib. This nigga's lit. So, you know what I mean? I had to check, and I gotta clock it. Gotta watch my man.
Got to.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't just come over.
Yeah.
I do admit that you don't gotta clock nothing. Now you can look and peep it like, oh, this is dope. Like, yo, this is dope. But I don't know. I think Queen's Flip is a good dude. And honestly, I think Joe's being a little paranoid, and Mark Lamont Hill, that's his humor. Kind of that dark, negative, dry humor, which is kind of ironic coming from this guy who's talking about Black people are victims and Black people need to come together. But he still has a lot of discourse. And I'm pretty sure if you disagree with him, he's going to have some choice words to say. And he's even said some things such as he doesn't feel bad when certain people pass away, and he doesn't mind criticizing them. Now, I don't mind the first part, not feeling bad, but to criticize someone that they're, when they're dead or when they're out of here and not to their face, that's a little cowardly in my opinion. Just my opinion.
You don't go to niggas' house and just watch shit?
No.
That niggas is lying. Absolutely not.
Actually, no.
You don't watch niggas' furniture and shit like that?
Funny you should from their house? No, I've never been to none of y'all's house except for Parks.
I was the boss. Never been to anyone's house except for, listen. And when I say boss, I don't mean like I guess you don't have to. But it's like, if the thing is, they have a rapport, right? These guys have a rapport with each other outside of this. So for them to never have, had dinner or something like that, this is a fragmented culture. This is deeper, and I didn't even realize I was going to fall into this conversation. This is a fragmented culture because there's a reason why he's not over their places for dinner. There's broken relationships. When they were younger, they probably did dirty things. They know how they are with women. They don't trust their girls around each other. It is what it is. They don't got to admit it because I come from that culture. I know how the people think. I know how they move. But the Bible, I'm going to say it. The Bible teaches us about adultery. You don't sleep with another man's wife, even if that's not your friend. Because if you know that that woman belongs to another man, That's like taking food out of my plate. You don't do that to another dude, and why would you want to? Now, if you do that, that just shows you're uncivilized. And what do we do with people that are uncivilized? You got to handle them. That is what it is. And there's gonna be people saying that, oh man, if she don't tell me she's married and she's free to, nah, B. That's what's wrong with the society. That's what's wrong with the culture of men, especially black men. Black men, ironically, did the opposite of that. Black men were so cool at a certain point that we because we're the leaders. We don't want no problems. Like, what kind of masculine man wants to deal with another person's woman? That's why you ask, like, you good? You ain't nothing going, because you don't want no drama, because you know what another man's capable of. And you know you don't want no one messing with your property. Right? This is what it is.
Yeah, man.
But I know where you live. My mom told me.
No, why? How I get in this?
I know where you live, boy. My mama told me. Yeah.
Oh, look, Ice live right there.
In a looks apartment.
So Dame on the Breakfast Club.
And I know what it cost to live there in 01. So I know what it looked like now.
And I heard you got more than 3 bedrooms.
Big step up.
Talking about, so Dame did.
These guys are so childish, bro. They got that Breakfast Club energy. They got that Breakfast Club energy. I will say that. But I gotta salute Joe Budden for building this platform. You know, I believe it's independent, or more independent than a lot of other platforms, which means he has majority stake in this. So it's impressive. And Breakfast Club, they clowned Joe Budden at one point. I don't know if a lot of people remember the old interviews that Joe used to do up there in Breakfast Club when they were a little more popping. And they would clown Joe Budden and have him looking crazy, make fun of him, et cetera, et cetera. Now Joe Budden, he shoots his show with a beautiful view of the skyline, with the water, the sunset. Like, Dame Dash was talking about what they have to go to at 4 a.m. every day, which is, if that's what their dream is to do, a morning show consistently like that long, then it is what it is. If they genuinely like getting up that morning and that's part of their lifestyle, that's genuinely in them, then I can't take that away from anybody. That's what success is, doing what you want to do and doing it, or pursuing it. That's success. Success is doing what you genuinely want to do, or in the pursuit of doing what you genuinely want to do, and succeeding at that. That's success. But they're in that room. Their room could change. They could do the Breakfast Club with a beautiful view in the city. They could. If they are that prominent, they made that much money, they could do that. I think that's what Dame's point was. You guys are saying I'm broke. You're trying to insult me. You're cutting me off, telling me I don't know anything about business and that I have all these failed ventures. But look at my homes. Follow my Instagram. Look at all the things I do. And he does have a lot of things that are actually productive. He has products. Not only that, he has philanthropic things that are going on. That's what a family office does, by the way. A family office does things philanthropically. Because that also helps your tax burden, by the way. But, you build products, and you build products that can give value to people, push things that you control, put out a product that you want, such as financial literacy or reading and comprehension, etc. But it also can help reduce your tax burden. I believe, if you structure it the right way with a nonprofit under your family office, because your family office can control as many assets or companies as it wants, right? But hopefully they're going to get into it, because these guys are, they got that Breakfast Club energy. They giggle a lot. Everything's a joke. It's hard for them to really get serious and get into the nitty gritty of things. And is that a reflection of black men right now in this society and culture? Is everything a joke with black people? I don't know.
Get his lick
lick back on the Breakfast Club.
He went up there and just dissed him the whole time.
Yeah, he wanted to get his lick back.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
He went up there and just dissed him the whole time. That's not true at all. He did not just go up there and just diss them the whole time. He went up there and he had valid points. He was trying to get into bankruptcy. He told them about how to structure their businesses so that rich people don't put anything in their names because they minimize liability. He talked to them about court battles and legal issues and how people waste a lot of legal fees to pursue things. How men conduct themselves, how men speak a certain way, how men respect their elders. If someone puts you in the game, because when he called Charlemagne out about, Wendy Williams is your OG, he was saying that because that's factual. He wasn't trying to disparage him. He was saying we have different perspectives. And Charlemagne could have turned that around at any point. But Charlemagne was being so childish. And it's funny because Dame Dash is not up on the Joe Budden podcast, which is in New Jersey, which is right across that water. And why do certain people avoid? Like, it's going to go big. You said you tuned into the Breakfast Club because it's going to do numbers. Why didn't Dame Dash stop by Joe Budden as well? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's a win-win for both. And then Dame Dash has some words for you. He can say it to you in your face. You had Jermaine Dupri up there, who's a legendary icon. Isn't Dame Dash in the same ilk? It's confusing me. It's like, what is going on? And then people talk about racism and the white man holding you back, but people won't even do business with the people that actually influence their literal career, actually put money in their pocket. A black man that actually had another black man put money in his pocket has a platform and won't bring that black man up to his platform, but talks about racism. I don't want to hear you say one thing about a white person, bro. Don't say one thing about a white person.
I thought Charlemagne was old school Charlemagne.
Yes.
Yeah, he was fighting back.
Old school Charlemagne as in stupid, which is stupid because so he's old school, which means he devolved. Like, he's not a basketball player, bro. We get you guys like to use analogies and metaphors, but I don't think you guys are getting it right now. I don't think you entertainers are getting it right now. And I got to give props to the entertainers that do get it and evolve, such as the Jay-Z's and Dame Dashes, ironically. Two sides of the same coin, it seems. But y'all are missing the point. You guys are really missing the point. That wasn't a opportunity for Charlemagne to turn into the old Charlemagne and make a bunch of jokes. That was an opportunity for them to have a powerful interview, same way they did when they had Farrakhan up there. They had Joe Biden up there. There's certain people they have up there and they don't make any jokes. They get quiet and they let the person that comes from a certain status or experience and background get the platform and use the platform to speak. Again, what is going on? Joe Budden and Charlemagne are not even buddies. Think about that. The industry has Dame Dash derangement syndrome. They got DDS. I'm coining that. The music industry has Dame Dash derangement syndrome. And the dude was speaking about Trump in a positive way. You better be careful, Dame. Don't go too far. Don't go too far trying to explain what masculinity is. Don't tell the truth about Trump and how he actually is really smart, really is a good businessman, how he really is rich and he really is a great leader and he's masculine. Don't do that. You're talking about masculinity. You're talking about Trump. You're saying what your thoughts are. You're independent. You're free. You're not in debt. All right. You don't know what their pockets are like because these guys reach a certain height, and then they end up, listen, you got $100 million. You got $50 million in debt. You think you feeling comfortable looking at that $50 million in debt completely? You like, damn, this $50 million in debt though. Now to the public, they know like, hey, you worth $100 million. I just Googled it, you $100 million. but you got this loan on your house. You got a couple houses with loans on them and stuff is slowing up. So you got to do a tour. You got to get to work. Dame is saying, listen, I don't have to work. I got to work for myself and my family, but I'm not in debt. I work because I do what the heck I want to do. I create what I want to create. There's no, shout out to Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels always says, never operate from a place of duress. And it don't matter if you're broke, middle class, or rich. That's the same principle. You don't want to operate from a place of duress, because when you operate from a place of duress, that's when bad things happen. That's when you make mistakes. There's plenty of people that look at MC Hammer, how much money he had and how he ended up in a certain position. So we've seen, look at Dame himself. When you operate from a certain place of duress, you have certain results. Now, when you operate from a place of abundance, from calculation and strategy, then you're good to go. And I think that's all you can get from this lesson. And he's asking questions. He said, I figured it out. I'm still in a good position. I owe $20 million in debt. If I owe that much money in taxes, how much money did I make? Are y'all paying attention? Do you see the assets that I still currently have? Do you see my lifestyle? Have I ever been to jail for child support and all these things that they put me in the news for? Come on. There's been plenty of okay, for example, Dr. Umar recently was in the news because he failed to pay the water for his school. Now, because he's a public figure, that's going to hit the internet like wildfire. It's just going to go. The thing that makes the huge difference is the reality in the real world, because things happen. You might miss a bill, or, if you're really a busy person, these guys are busy, they're traveling. I don't think you should miss something, but things happen. Things happen. So if you miss something and then he pays it off in real life, that sets him apart, because he's like, oh yeah, they published that. I didn't pay the water bill, but hey, look, it's paid off. School's being built with good money. The difference is that's what Dame does, because he hasn't been in jail for these things. He liquidated his last asset that was in his name, which is truthful, because I don't remember him being forced to sell anything else other than that. And he got his return to pay off some debts, and he's good money as far as his personal, him as a personal guarantee for whatever. I don't think he's a personal guarantee for anything. And that opens him up to move a little more efficiently if he wants to decide to, put his name on certain things, which I doubt he will. But at least it takes he doesn't have to have that mess with his other assets, But we're going to do a part 2 to this.
He was fighting back.
I thought he did more than that.
I love what Charlemagne. You're lying. He was just like,
No, I thought
That's what you love? Like, look at these dudes, yo. That's what you love. That's what you took from that. Think about what I'm saying to anyone that's listening to me. That's what they took from that interview. Some jokes.
I thought nigga Debt Dash. He called him Debt Dash and said he should work for Debt Jam. That's funny.
that's really funny.
This interview,
I think they
That was kind of funny, because he was, but at the same time, it looked kind of desperate and corny, because they're saying that he reverted to the old Charlemagne, but these guys are in their 40s, damn near 50, if not. Like, bro, let's have an intelligent conversation. Like, you don't think it's going to do views and numbers? Like, what are you talking about? That's another thing that's with this culture. This culture, I think they can't change and still have the same fruitful life. I just think this culture of people, they think they can't change and grow, still enjoy a beautiful life, make a lot of money. Like, the only people that don't want you to act this way are demons, whether they're in high places, usually in high places, or low places. And the demons are out. Let's just call it is what it is. The people that love chaos and just negative things love the jokes. They love that we have a culture that just thrives on joking and this everything's funny. Even when someone's coming to the table with something that is fruitful and valuable. To a community that needs the information the most. Isn't that the ironic part?
Handled it way more appropriately. Like, because Dame came up there to basically insult her.
Yeah.
But
These dudes are. This is crazy, bro. He came up there and gave them gifts, bruh. Like, we gotta call these people out for being wrong. And they don't like when you call them out in a direct way. They don't like that, bruh. And you gotta question their upbringings. You gotta listen. I give Dame credit for someone that, based on his childhood story, there's a lot of trauma there, just like there is with a lot of people from these communities. Ish, Ice, Joe Budden, Queen Flip. We can't act like these people didn't come from certain environments and just have different traumas. Not to mention the media programming, the societal programming, the environments, the failed parenting. All this is a culmination of trauma and behaviors that we've accepted and that we've made into a culture. If you don't understand, rewind what I just said. Do it over and over until you break down what I just said. These things are a combination of things that lead into our culture. We can't even decipher when someone's giving us something that's valuable, when to joke, when to listen. And I'm not going to say I'm going to say a lot of people can't decipher that because words are powerful. But Ish, who came up there as the entrepreneur, to hear this dude lately has been saying things, in my opinion, no disrespect, that have been bugged out to me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's influencing him or whatever, but he didn't go up there to just blatantly insult them, bro. He went up there to have an intellectual debate in good taste. He said, to start off, after he gave him the gifts, by the way, from his companies, which is thoughtful. It's promotion for him as well, but it's also thoughtful and it's respectful and it's classy. It's a classy thing to do. And he said, as we set these terms, I would like us or for you to not cut me off, because a lot of times you cut me off and that triggers them. He gave them a warning. We have a culture of people where you can tell them something directly, set the stage and the standards for something. People will disrespect that and then make that person that set the stage and the standards for something after you triggered them, make them look like the bad person. And that is something that's been going on for a long time in this culture. This culture loves to trigger and troll. Think about it, yo. Think about the internet right now. Think about the black community. Think about liberals. Think about people. Think about how women act. Think about how these men, these feminine men act. Think about it. Think about what Dame Dash is saying. And it aligns with what a lot of the quote unquote manosphere be saying. Not all the manosphere people, but some of them, like his Angry Man's, Anton Daniels, even Jesse Lee Peterson. Think about it. We have a culture of goofy mother lovers, yo. Everything is goofy. And no one's saying you can't have fun, you can't be witty, but bruh, you got to learn how to regulate and have a conversation. And if you're the host, why would you want your guests getting mad unless you're trying to trigger them for value? I mean, for what's valuable to you in entertainment, but not to actually have a insightful conversation so you can learn more about A, the guest, and B, teach the audience. And there's nothing intelligent about that. Now, this video or their video was both intelligent and entertaining. The intelligent part was what you saw Dame Dash do if you could pay attention enough, if you could focus and really pay attention to what he was saying. The entertainment aspect was Dame and Charlemagne going back at it. And Dame Dash was holding his own too. Dame has some quotables as well. They quoting Charlemagne for, if you're going to quote Debt Jam and Debt Jam, you're not going to quote Dame when he said to DJ Envy, Would you rather have a repo or a Rico? You're not going to quote that? Because, I mean, isn't that something that was in the headlines? Isn't that something that was true? Well, that's not true. This was disproven. But you guys report on things on Dame all the time. You see the intellectual argument there? A lot of people don't. They don't even get where the contradiction is, where the hypocrisy is. Some people in this culture admit that they're hypocrites. Think about that. The culture is so far gone, or this culture. I'm not going to say the culture. I'm going to say this culture, because there's a lot of people that have removed themselves from that culture and are in the process of creating a new culture, which they're going to probably want to join. They're going to want to leap, on. But this culture, they admit that they're hypocrites, which means that they can't admit when they learn something new. They can't admit when they were wrong. They can't just keep it moving. Everything is a joke. Oh, yeah, I'm a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. Like, what kind of culture of men acts like that? I've never seen that. Unless they're all comedians. They need to say, hey, I am a comedian. Joe Budden just needs to say, hey, going forward, I am not a podcaster. I'm just a comedian podcaster. Charlemagne needs to make it known he is a comedian. DJ Envy needs to make it known he is a comedian. You're not a DJ. You're not a radio show host. You're not a podcaster. You guys have turned into comedians. No?
They're professionals. You can't. And they were laughing at him, and I think it had a counter effect of what he thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think his whole purpose.
To who? Like, listen, man, I don't know. Ish been smoking something, drinking something, eating too much sugar, but bruh, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. He used to be the voice of reason and logic on the show, but I don't know.
Up there was to go up there and belittle them because he looks at them like they're not street niggas. Uh-huh. And so he brings that element to it, like, yo, I would punch you in your face and all that other stuff.
Bruh, he was cutting them off and calling them broke and saying all types of stuff in his face. So if someone pokes you and then you bark back because you are a dog, he said he's from the streets. So if you're not a street person and you're poking at a street person, isn't that kind of common sense? How does a street person come up there, bring you gifts? He says, hey, listen, I want to have a conversation with you guys. Let's be fair, respectful. Don't cut me off. How is that a street person bullying? They were trying to bully this quote unquote street person by trying to baiting him into being out of his character and doing something that could either go viral or just make him look stupid. Like, come on, man. This community needs to play chess. They need to get their brains working. They need to do different activities. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I have that clip.
And I just think that's...
Yeah, he told me never sold drugs. Yeah.
That's what all them niggas do, though.
This is hilarious. I love
They ain't just Harlem.
You guys look at my Instagram. I've been editing for 6 months. Stupid.
I don't believe it.
Because you're dumb. How would you know? You're in this coffin every day. Count.
If someone tells you, hey, I've been editing for 6 months, why are you saying I don't believe it? That's not weird to them. Like, that's not weird energy. I don't believe it. No? All right. Maybe it's just me.
Dumb you look?
I want to wear your suit in my coffee.
But I'm talking to you about. Wait.
In the interview.
How should I know? I knew.
So when we ask the question,
Yo, I'm talking to him now. See what you're doing? Girls do that. Let me say this. You acting like a girl.
You move like an old auntie. You an old Harlem auntie.
I could punch you right in your face. Like a
He said you move like an old Harlem auntie. And he's saying I could punch you right in your face and you won't do nothing. Like, it's insult for insult. I don't know.
grown man, I won't, and you won't do shit.
Today, this is with the Chai Patty, so just so you know, because I knew he was going to say that.
I've seen you run. I've seen you. I'm not saying I will. I'm saying no. Then
this is old school breakfast.
Your version of respect was different than mine. We were on the street right now, and you would talk like that. I would have fucked you up. But I'm not going to do that. Nah, I wouldn't have got beat up. I wouldn't have got beat up. Let's end this. So let me say one more thing.
It's a rather long clip.
All right. Oh, you're right.
How you want to leave? You can't get in your emotions and want to leave.
No, what I'm saying is when you interrupt me and you say certain things, where I'm from, the masculine man will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But because, wait, let me finish. No, I didn't. I said not gonna happen. I didn't say that. I said I could, and you wouldn't do anything.
And we gonna fight.
I didn't see that on tape. You ran.
Yeah, because it was 4 guys, but that's cool.
I asked what happened when 30 guys jumped.
Mark Lamont Hill. Now, Mark Lamont Hill put up his hands when he said that he ran from 4 guys. Now, I don't mind that Charlemagne ran, but I'm not gonna necessarily like champion it that I ran at the same time. I'm gonna say, listen, I got kids to go home to. I don't know what they had on them. Dame, you could fight if you want. Now, if I have to defend myself or I have to defend my family, my children, then I'm gonna fight. But if I don't have to fight, I'm gonna avoid the fight. You can call me whatever you want. At the same time, I'm not going to champion like, yeah, I ran and, make it look funny and this and that. That's the problem. Charlemagne makes himself look like a joke, so people take him as a joke. Dame isn't talking to him just because of that one thing. He's talking to him because there's an accumulation of things that Charlemagne does and that he portrays that make himself look that way. And when he says, hey, as a man, I don't want white people to look at you and think this is what masculinity is. And he has a point. He has a point. That's just not very masculine to always be in this submissive, running away and, always being the butt of the jokes and letting people talk to you a certain way. And he came up through gossip. DJ, Dame Dash has a point and it's going over their heads because these guys are liberal. This is the culture that they accepted. Now, I don't know if Dave he's got a new leaf, if he's realized some things because he's talking very differently. And even though I agree with a lot of things he said in the past, the way that he's approaching this masculinity topic and how they're looking at things and how that they're disseminating information to the public, that was genius to me.
I got that ass
I love
whipping,
niggas.
but I fucked
Ask
up
what
niggas up.
happened.
I think he's been some head trauma ever since.
They love jokes, man. They love jokes. And this is another thing. Women pay attention to that. Women pay attention to that. Your wives, your girls, they pay attention to how you act when you're in a group, whether you're on a show like this, whether you're in a group like this in public. They pay attention to how much you joke. Yep, they pay attention to how much you joke, how much you accept being the butt of the joke. Now, I'm not saying to move for women's approval. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you just need to be aware because that's just called knowledge. That's just called being informed. So you need to know how your lady looks at you when you act a certain way. And a lot of people think that Dame looks crazy, but I guarantee that there's a lot of women that look at him and think that he's actually making good points. And they respect that he's sticking up and standing against so many other men. Think about what I'm saying, fellas. Now, don't just be the loud dude in the room trying to make a point and going against everybody to try to seem smart. That's not what I'm saying. When you actually have a point, when you're actually standing on something that's principled and valued and has some sort of merit and standard, and you're staying on your pivot, and you're staying on your square, and you're saying that in front of a group of other men, a smart woman has nothing but respect for you. Forget the attraction point. Forget the sex and all that. She got nothing but respect for you if she's truly an insightful woman. And same thing with dudes. Dudes recognize real game. They recognize real spit. And they recognize when clowns look at the clown stuff. This is what it is.
There's a million more clips.
It's all gold
going around, but this entire interview is
Charlemagne was
hilarious.
For him, yo.
I think part of why it works is because Charlemagne doesn't actually get rattled by it.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
the professionalism. Like, and I know what you're doing.
Right.
Your goal is to try to get under my skin.
What? His goal is to try to get under what? Yo, bruh. This is what I'm talking. Yo, these guys are not. This is not the Breakfast Club. These guys are not Charlemagne's allies. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. But Dame Dash is not y'all enemies. Y'all gotta pay attention, bruh. Y'all gotta pay attention to society and how this stuff works. Why do some people just automatically just get turned on? Y'all don't be paying attention to stuff like that. Like, y'all don't really think like, yo, why do certain people just be getting turned on? And sometimes you be like, oh, it must be it's the person that's involved, which is true. If there's always someone that's the factor, that someone's always a factor in something, then you say, hey, man, maybe you're the issue. But then you realize all the people that are around Dame, they've all had issues with other people too. So it ain't just him. All these people in this industry have had issues, have had, bad moments, etc. Why do they all turn on Dame and put him in this corner, in this box? Like, damn, you really the bad guy though. Like, we really don't rock with you. When he don't even be saying nothing that's wrong. They can insult him, try to trigger him. When he set he set the boundary initially, they can go at him. But when he goes back, he's trying to trigger them. He kept saying, listen, he kept trying to redirect the conversation multiple times. Nothing is actually more triggering than when you're telling someone this is what triggers me and then they trigger you anyways. That's especially if you're a man, because you're disrespecting me. You don't respect my masculinity. You don't respect my manhood. And you don't have to, but you know it comes with that. It's like these guys want Dame to be this soft guy. It's like he has to humble himself for the public. If Dame Dash doesn't come out in the public and he's just this most humble guy, he takes any comment, they could say whatever, and then he just has to take it. And then when he defends himself and corrects themselves and educates, he's the bad guy. That's some Matrix level stuff right there, bro. It is what it is.
So even if you get under my skin, I'm not gonna let you do it. Right.
And now we look, and this is the bad part. Like, I hate seeing Dame even in this fashion, because now they looking at Dame like, yo, dog, you a joke. Like, I think the world is looking at this like, yo, you getting up there and you belittling yourself and you taking yourself from the Dame that we once knew to down here.
I don't necessarily.
What are they talking about, bro? I gotta end this right here. What is this guy talking about? Bruh, these people are cooked, in my opinion. Allegedly, they are cooked. Yo, we're gonna get back in this in part 2.